Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Opera House Art's second edition of Coffee on the Couch. I'm Joshua McCary, Director of Education at Opera House Arts. Today I'm joined by Kelly Johnson, Interim Director of Development, Per Jansen, Producing Executive Director, Pam Ghetto, Director of Operations, and Kate Russell, Director of Communication and Engagement. Today, we are thrilled to have our guest, Liz Rimar, for Coffee on the Couch. You very well might recognize her from the times that she's graced our stage with her wonderful performances of Orlando in our production of Sarah Rules Orlando in 2016. Liz returned to Stonington in 2019 in our production of Shakespeare in Love, playing the roles of Nurse, Heavies, and Kate. And just this year, Liz came back as a part of our team of teaching artists for our voice-to-voice poetry project. Liz and our team of teaching artists crafted original videos of an actor's approach to poetry recitation. So over 300 students on the island and peninsula were able to, as part of their virtual learning, watch Liz performing right in her living room with her cat Popcorn and beautifully modeling the voice of a storyteller and bringing the voice of a poem to life. So we thank you, Liz, for all of the roles you've played in our organization, and we welcome you back to Stonington today, joining us from Jersey City. Good morning.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here.
Great. So Coffee on the Couch is an opportunity for us to slow down our days and to focus on the life and experience of a beloved member of our community. And we welcome you today. There is no agenda to Coffee on the Couch other than we put a time limitation of 20 minutes. And I understand that Kate will be doing that today. Great. Thank you, Kate. So once we get a thumbs up from Kate, we'll start our conversation. Great. So Liz, what did you have for breakfast today?
I haven't eaten it yet. There's a Pop-Tart sitting next to me.
Amazing.
and coffee.
Okay, yeah, for Coffee on the Couch.
Not much of a breakfast person, but yeah, Pop-Tarts, brown sugar Pop-Tart.
And can you tell us a little more about what your daily rhythms are in our new reality here over there in Jersey City?
A lot of nothing for me. I've been having to start. It's been difficult for me because I've never realized how important it is for outside activities to give me meaning, and it's been a hard time for me to give myself meaning in my own life, in my own home. And I've been doing some creative things, and my husband is trying to get me to I get little tasks in the day, and sometimes I do them and sometimes I don't. It's been tough, the timing and everything. Yeah, it's not been the best, but I'm getting through it and figuring things out. And this helps. 11 a.m. interview. Hey, I got a scheduled thing now. So it's nice for that kind of stuff, and like Zoom play readings and things like that have helped.
I know that a lot of us, now that we are spending this time at home, are spending more time with our pets. Joshua mentioned your cat Popcorn. Can you tell us a little bit more about him?
Okay, Popcorn is right here. Popcorn Tea Cat. And my husband found him in Queens maybe 4 years ago. He called me and he said, I found a kitten on the street. And I was like, I'll be right there. I finished a catering shift, and he was just sitting on the ground, and this little black and white kitten was there. Him and my cat Zinger did not really get along. And Singer unfortunately passed away. And we've just got Popcorn Tea Cat. He's a good little guy. He's a snuggler. He's an oddball. He gets the zoomies and does parkour off the walls. He's a good little dude. He'd make you like cats if you were the kind of person who's like, I hate cats. I don't like cats. I'm always like, some cats are jerks. He's not a jerk. Meet my cat.
Can I ask how Popcorn got his name?
He was eating popcorn. That's how my husband found him. He was eating popcorn on the side of the road. I was trying to give him like a name like Ajax because I was really into the movie The Warriors at the time, and my husband refused. He's more of a popcorn.
Pam, I think you're muted.
There we go.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
You have some really great artwork on the wall behind you. Can
Yes.
you tell me what it is? And
All right.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. Well, here, I'll pull it out to my wall because I'm actually kind of proud of it. So this is my bedroom wall. And actually, my desk used to be right where the hole is, but I moved it out into the living room. But what do we got? I've got there's a picture of me and my husband. This is Hawkeye. This is like Marvel. That's a Peter Max painting. I've got a plate from the World's Fair. And then I actually have a star from Stonington on the wall. If that little, next to Macbeth, the little star, that's Stonington. I got it at Nervous Nellie's Gems and Jellies. Lots of different things. There's a Back to the Future thing. This is from Critical Role, which is a Dungeons and Dragons podcast. Painting by my sister. Lots of different things. Yeah.
Liz, I would love to hear about your first experience coming to Deer Isle.
Yes. Okay. It was amazing. Like, I was really scared because I was going in and playing the title character, which it was a lot. And it's an interesting show, how time goes and the chorus, and it's an odd show.
Yeah, we're talking about Orlando here.
Yes, Orlando. Sorry. Yes, my first show, Orlando.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pear. With Pear, who was in it and was lovely in it. It was frightening at first because I was away in a place that I've never experienced anything like Stonington before. I'm from the suburbs of Connecticut, and my whole life I've been in Boston, New York City. So like a town that closes at 9:00 every day and is kind of remote to a degree was a lot different for me. But it was, the way I sell it to people when I try and get them to audition for you guys is I say it's vacation where you get to play. You get to do a play and then you're just in Maine. It's amazing. It was an amazing experience. And the play too was brilliant.
And it was so wonderful working with you on that, Liz. I loved your performance so much. So you use the word vacation, and Maine is vacation land. And I just got an email this morning from Down East Acadia Regional Tourism, and that's one thing that's really in jeopardy is Maine's whole economy, because we rely so much on that business.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all a long preface to ask you a personal question.
No, that's fine.
Which is, do you have any favorite childhood memories of any vacations with your family?
We traveled a lot. Our main thing was we would go up every year skiing to Smuggler's Notch, which was right on the border of Canada. I have forgotten what town it is in. But Smuggler's Notch, we would go for a week, President's Week every year, and we would drive up. And my father was sick of my sister and I screaming at each other in the car. So he rigged up a TV. We had like a little tiny VHS TV, and he would rig it in a milk carton, like the plastic ones with the netting or whatever, and he'd put it in the seat between us, and he'd rig up the N64, and like just driving, going on, like we would drive most places for our travels. We'd fly places too, but a lot of driving. And I just, tons of memories of doing that, or just sitting in the car with my headphones and listening to music. Like that's how I listen to music, is commuting. So I don't really listen to it around the house, which makes me sad, but I can't focus on anything but the music. So car rides were perfect for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This kind of continues the theme of traveling, but your job will sometimes take you away from home for weeks at a time. So when you've been gone for a while, what's the first thing that you do when you get back home?
Hang out with my husband. Like, usually, I mean, the only 2 times I've done shows out of state are with you all. And the first time he was there when it was over, and we kind of just drove and meandered our way back home and kind of made that an adventure. And then this time he wasn't able to come up. So pretty much it was just hanging out with him. And I think we went to Six Flags. We went to Riverside in Agawam, Massachusetts. We went to an amusement park and hung out. So we would just do something that was fun to us. Yeah.
Liz, looking at the art on your walls and hearing you talk about music, I'm curious if there is a work of art, a book, a poem, a performance that was formative for you, or an indelible experience that changed the way you moved through the world after it happened to you.
All right, I'll stick with my answer from last time, Star Wars. And I was thinking about this. I found Star Wars when I was I think they re-released them in like 96 or something. So I was like middle school. And I was still kind of figuring out who I was in the world. And I don't remember seeing them for the first time. But I remember something clicking. I became obsessed with it. Like I read those extended universe novels in one summer. I probably read like 12 of them. And they smelled so good. Those the Barnes and Noble books, they just smelled so good. I still have some here. Just something about this world of fantasy and hope, which for me, Star Wars it's about hope and magic. And I think that was something that helped open the door to me to realize that acting was something. I can't articulate what it was, but I know it was something to do with that. Like the magic, it was the permission to be magical. And Star Wars helped with that.
Liz, this is kind of a heavy question, but where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Still acting. I don't know how, and like especially now because everything is kind of in flux because of what's happening in my industry, of our industry of theater, but also my husband's industry, which is restaurants. Like everything is kind of, both things are vital, I feel. People need like a restaurant kind of setting to go and be fed by someone. There's something wonderful about restaurants and that kind of world that I don't think will go away. I think it's going to be hurt, but I think it'll be back. And I think for theater, it will always be there. It's just, we're a little, everybody's taking a breath right now. This is forcing us to kind of step back and look at how everything is set up. and how things are run and who's in charge and who's being represented and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of, yeah. So I see myself doing theater, but there's a lot of stuff that I kind of have a hard time thinking about right now because we're in this right now. So it's like, I'll still be acting somehow.
So we all just went to the future. Now let's go to the past, and I'll ask you, what was the first play that you ever did?
First play. Well, I mean, if we're going back like old school, kindergarten, I did Stone Soup.
Yeah,
That was my first show. And I really liked it. And I have a vivid memory. My dad, he worked a lot when we were little. He was still home at night and stuff like that. But like a dad occurrence during the day wasn't typical. And I remember being on stage and I saw him in the audience in his suit and he'd come and that was really cool. And I remember the play. It was fun. We actually had soup with rocks in it, I think. Because it was kindergarten, so they're like, let's integrate it in a class. Or we had Stone Soup. I was a villager. It was lovely.
And then can you tell us about your first professional production that you ever did?
Now, professional, like paid? Is that what you mean?
However you want to interpret that.
Okay. All right. My first professional show was Assassins. Right after I graduated college, I like there were titterings in the class of people like, yeah, there's auditions happening. And I was like, all right, I'll go in. I don't really know anything. And I was reading for Squeaky, who is the right age for me. And if you ever see a photo of my mother from the 70s, she looks exactly like her. It's really scary. So I went in for her and they called me back for Squeaky. And I was like, great, cool. So the scene is Squeaky and Sarah Jane Moore. And then Squeaky's song. So I read that and they're like, hey, can you read for Sarah Jane? And I was like, I mean, the scene is easy. It's just swapping. That's fine. The song is not easy to learn. It's, I got this really great content. Where is it? No, it's really great. And I'm sitting there in the Boston Playwrights Theater with earpods jammed into my head trying to learn this song. So I go into the audition and I mess up the song and then I leave. Then I get called back and I'm in a room with a bunch of like properly aged women for that character. She was in her 40s or 50s. I was in my 20s and I got the role. And I was told the thing that triggered the my director, Sean, was I messed up and I swore to myself. I went like, ah, crap. And he was like, that's her. And I was the wrong age. I had bright red hair, but it was the best. It was a great show.
Okay, Kate's giving us the
Thank you,
5-minute warning, and I'm going to be the context guy again. That's Assassins by Stephen Sondheim.
Yes, it is.
Real life assassins.
Yep,
and he just
and I was
celebrated his
Sarah Jane Moore.
90th in an event that was beleaguered, as we frequently are, by technical snafus.
Yes.
All right, Liz, having watched some movies with you, I know that you are also a very engaged and active audience member. And I was wondering if that's a result of your having been on stage, or have you always just been very connected to storytelling?
I think I've always been connected. I remember the second show I saw was Les Mis, which was inappropriate for a 6 and an 8-year-old to go see, but whatever. Was Cats. And it's my favorite musical, and I get slack for it all the time, and I don't care. But I haven't seen the new movie, and I will never see the new movie. But thank you, Kat. I remember watching it, and when it finished, I was weeping, and I didn't understand why. And my mom, I'm walking out of the Winter Garden Theater. My mom is like, why are you still crying? I'm like, I didn't want it to end. So I've always been engaged. I think I've gotten a little more theatrical about it now that I'm an actor and I have more permission to be theatrical about it, much to the chagrin of my poor husband in Star Wars when I almost punched him because I got excited about something. But, yeah. I've thrown myself off a couch because of Doctor Who. And Kelly, I think you'd throw yourself off a couch for it too.
I think we have time for one more question, and I'm up next. Liz, I want to thank you for speaking so candidly earlier about this moment of doing nothing and how that feels for you. And I'm curious if you've been thinking or have an impulse, once this great pause is over, what's the first thing on your list that you'll do, that you'll want to do?
Okay. First thing is to see my nephew Jack, who's 6 months old now, and my sister calls every day, midday, and just kind of pops the phone in front of him, and he just exists in front of me, and it's amazing, and he's so cute. So I will grab him and squeeze him, and then, I mean, knock on wood or whatever that material is, do a show I was cast in. And I hope that this is done by that time because I really want to do it. But I also have 2 callbacks that are kind of in the thing. So, like, yeah, act and then play with my cousin. My nephew, he's not my cousin. Yeah.
Oh, we have time for one more, Kate is saying. One minute, one question. So that's Pam. Go ahead, Pam.
Oh gosh, so much. Your husband's in the restaurant business, you said, and before all this happened, this chaos that we're living in now, where would you guys go? What was your favorite restaurant?
I don't say we would have a favorite. We explored a lot. We would kind of just happen upon places. I mean, if it was a hot dog place, we would go into it. We really like hot dogs in my family. So if he almost crashed a U-Haul truck when we were moving here because I was like, ooh, hot dog place. And he almost crashed the truck. But yeah, we explore. We kind of just wander until I complain enough that we stop at a restaurant. And yeah, we experience it that way. Like any nicer restaurant, we go with my family. Yeah, we're wanderers restaurant-wise.
Great, thanks.
All right, are we at time?
It
Okay.
looks like we are. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Liz Rimar, for joining us today for Coffee on the Couch. We do encourage viewers to tune into our Voice to Voice Poetry Project Showcase Thursday at 6:30 p.m., April 30th. And you'll get to see our wonderful youth reciting poems and putting into practice some of the wonderful lessons that we got to experience with you in your visit, your virtual visit to Voice to Voice. So thanks again. And we also encourage everyone to tune into Coffee on the Couch. Again, our next edition, we're inviting our Harbor residents and dancers, Laura K. Nickel and Rufus Morgan Kralkamp Nickel. So we encourage you to grab a coffee and get on your couch and watch that, or throw yourself off the couch, as Liz encourages us to do if we are so inspired to do.
Exactly. Yes. Please do it.
And we encourage everyone to be well and connected, and thanks for tuning in.
Kids.